It is usually one of the busiest travel days of the year. How travelers and airport officials, though, say the pandemic is changing things this year.
The red flag warning is in effect. I'm pinpointing the Santa Ana winds that will continue to build the rest of the day and when rain is back in the forecast.
After it was stolen, a Scripps Ranch shopping center set out to replace that mysterious monolith. But just before they were set to unveil it, vandals crashing the party. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Great to have you with us this midday. I'm Jim Patton, and I'm joined remotely by my co-anchor Virginia Cha and 10 News meteorologist Megan Perry. Great to see you both, and we'll be with you very shortly. Well, despite warnings from health officials about staying home for the holidays, tens of thousands of people expected to pass through San Diego International Airport through the holiday period, including today, one of the busiest travel days of the year. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell shows us why some people are following through on their holiday travel plans.
Before the pandemic, what you're seeing now in terms of airport traffic would be considered rare, especially being 2 days before Christmas and what's typically the busiest season of the year. Early Wednesday morning, passengers were dropped off curbside, while inside, lines of people masked up waited to get checked in. Among those ready to leave is Danny Pham, who's in the Marine Corps. Like many travelers, he's going to visit his family, who he hasn't seen in 2 years. He had scheduled a visit in the beginning of the year, but then COVID hit.
I was trying to a while back, but since COVID kicked off really badly, I wasn't able to go home yet.
In preparation for this trip, he quarantined for 2 weeks and made sure he had all of the PPE he needed for this flight.
Shouldn't have double mask, using a lot of hand sanitizer, washing my hands.
And despite stay-at-home warnings, the airport officials expect more people like Danny will take to the skies. They predict about 20,000 people will pass through the San Diego International Airport. But they add, even though people are booking flights, air travel is still down, and they're expecting to see a 73% decrease when compared to this same time last year. Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
All right, let's say hello to Megan Perry now and get a check on our weather today. And there's been a lot to talk about today, Megan.
Oh, there's a lot to talk about today and over the next week, in fact, and a lot of cloud cover blanketing our county right now. Very unusual for a Santa Ana event. Believe it or not, we're actually going to have a storm passing by overhead tomorrow. But on the surface, we're going to be dealing with Santa Ana conditions. You can see all those clouds in Alpine right now, where gusts have actually reached up to 44 miles per hour. These are the peak wind gusts we've seen so far, and they're pretty much happening right now because those winds are building and they're continuing to get stronger as we head through the rest of the day. We have seen a few gusts over 50 in Big Black Mountain and Sill Hill. Those are typically some of the windiest spots across the county. Alpine gusting to 43 miles per hour right now, 26 in Julian. And as I put 10 News Futurecast into play, just watch how quickly those arrows speed up, because this is a model that shows not only the direction, but also the speed. So they're going to be building as we head into tonight. That red flag warning is in effect until noon tomorrow. I'll pinpoint how long these gusty winds are going to be with us and when our next chance for not only sprinkles, but real actual measurable rain moves in your full forecast. Virginia?
Thank you so much, Megan. And of course, as you might expect, SDG&E warning thousands of customers their power could be shut off as a precaution because of the strong winds and the fire danger. 31,000 people could be affected by these possible shutoffs. The possible shutdowns are forcing struggling business owners to make some tough choices.
So we just have a generator for the home, but if the business needs it, we're obviously going to prioritize the business over our home.
This is the second red flag warning this month. On December 2nd, a red flag warning was in effect when the Willow Fire erupted in Rancho San Diego. Well, President Trump announcing he will not sign the pandemic relief deal that Congress spent months negotiating. Now, on Twitter, the president released a video calling the bill a, quote, disgrace. He wants lawmakers to rework that bill and increase the direct stimulus payment from $600 to $2,000.
I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple. I am also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation.
Now, that led to a message of support from an unlikely source, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. She said, quote, "Democrats are ready to bring this to the floor this week by unanimous consent. Let's do it." Republicans have indicated the price tag of the $900 billion COVID-19 relief package is already too high. Now, if the president refuses to sign it, the bill would still become law, but only after 10 days. If he vetoes, Congress could override it. Here in San Diego, court deadline is today for 2 local strip clubs involved in that lawsuit that allowed restaurants and the clubs to reopen briefly last week. Now, you may recall a judge ruled the strip clubs, along with restaurants, could stay open. 2 days later, an appellate court blocked that ruling. The court gave the strip clubs until today to file a response. There is still no date yet for when the court will hear the state's appeal. There is a new twist in the tale of that mysterious monolith that popped up at a Scripps Ranch shopping mall. After it was stolen, mall managers paid to have it replaced. But as ABC 10 News reporter Vanessa Paz explains, just as they were about to unveil the new one, vandals struck again.
Residents and business owners aren't sure how a monolith landed in a Scripps Ranch promenade, but they didn't care because it brought them something money couldn't buy and something they've needed all year long: hope.
It really made people curious. It made people, use their imagination a little bit and talk about how did it get here, and it was kind of a release from all the negative stuff that we've been hearing all year.
This is video of what once was in a Scripps Ranch mall, a sleek structure that popped up out of nowhere earlier this month. But the more questions raised, like where'd it come from, why here, the more you could say people got attached. Drew Hoffus is co-owner of Nutmeg Bakery and Cafe. His business didn't just have a first-class view of the monolith, but reaped the benefits of being next to it. It drew in customers.
This year's been a challenge, obviously, for everyone, and, just trying to keep the restaurant afloat has been a really monumental task.
Other people we spoke to said it was unofficially named the Monolith of Hope because visitors and residents would touch it, take pictures with it, and for some reason it brought them joy. That's why when a group of teens seen in this video stole it a couple weeks ago, mall managers replaced it right away. But just as they were about to unveil it Wednesday, this is what they found.
The plaque we had made speaks to dedicating the monolith to the community, to the local businesses that helped us get through this crazy year. And for someone to tear it down before it's unveiled, before anybody even knew what it was for, it's a little frustrating, almost sickening, really. It's tough to take.
Now the question, why would anyone destroy something that brought brightness to a dark year and right before Christmas? Vanessa Paz, ABC 10 News.
That is the question. Police are now looking at surveillance footage, and they're asking anyone with information to please step forward. Jim?
Yeah, it's terrible that was, and I hope they can catch up with whoever did that. Meanwhile, this morning, federal officials striking a deal with Pfizer to get an additional 100 million doses of their vaccine. Deal setting the U.S. up for now to get 200 million total doses from Pfizer alone. Now remember, each person is supposed to get 2 doses of that. As part of the deal, the government offered Pfizer better access to manufacturing supplies. The government also now has an option to buy 400 million more doses of Pfizer's vaccine. Despite pleading guilty to a felony charge of campaign fraud, former East County Congressman Duncan Hunter will spend no time in prison. This after President Trump issued a pardon. Hunter resigned in January and in March was sentenced to 11 months in prison, a term that was expected to begin serving in 2021. In a statement, the White House noted that the case could have been handled civilly with the Federal Elections Committee.